Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast. This is episode 180. I am your host, Supreme King. Join with me, as always, is my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Mazes.
You know what's funny? I was listening to a podcast of a completely different genre, different topic. And the funny thing is, they came on there and was like, let's get down to business. I hate when podcasts start off and they try to talk about the weather. And I just thought about it. And I was like, oh, shoot.
That's what we did.
Oh, man.
A
All
lot.
right. So maybe we'll cut back on that. I mean, it's nice and sunny out. It's nothing too crazy.
Well, there you go. You
but
just started it.
I
Yeah.
just started it.
This is nice weather. I needed to stay like this. It ain't going to, though, but I needed to.
All right, well, anyways, I'll try to hop into it a little bit quicker for the demand of the people out there. I actually wanted to talk about the topic that what it seems like everybody is talking about right now, which I feel like it's a nothing burger, and I think it's a little funny. But Halo is one of the games that is, the Halo, I should say, Campaign Evolve, which is this new remastered version of the original Halo Combat Evolve. That is still going to PlayStation. But however, it came out that there's some, I guess, egregious requirements according to the audiences out there. I feel like it's not that egregious compared to like when you think about what you have to do crossplay. There's plenty of other platforms that make you sign in to an account before you start playing, agree to certain terms and all that stuff, and then you start playing, and then you can see people from other platforms play the game while you still on your machine. I think this is somewhat similar. The only thing I could kind of agree with is the split screen thing, but it kind of came out just after that that it was a false thing. But I'll give you some context. So basically, that game is multi-plat, with the exception, I don't know if Nintendo is a part of it, but I do know PlayStation, you can play that Halo game on there. So originally everybody was under the impression that you have to have not only a PlayStation Plus account, which is obvious if you're going to play online or whatever, but this is actually still true. You do need an Xbox account as well, just to play online, which to me makes sense if you're doing crossplay, if it has crossplay. And who out here doesn't have like a Microsoft account? If you have a Microsoft account, you probably already have an Xbox account anyway. But you need to have a Microsoft account by default, and then an Xbox gamer tag, on top of already having a PlayStation Plus account. And then the misinformation part was, if you are trying to play local co-op where it's split screen, then you need to have you have to have a PlayStation Plus account, and the other half of the screen has to have a PlayStation Plus account. Which, that part seemed kind of confusing, a little head scratching and goofy, but that was the whole thing. And so that news came out, I think, yesterday. Obviously the YouTubers did what they do. They sped out the gate, making videos on it, and everybody's got the same video where they're all extra outraged. It didn't really look into it, and then right after that, the Halo account basically said, you are not required to have a PlayStation Plus account, or multiple PlayStation Plus accounts for local co-op split screen play. However, somebody does still need to have a PlayStation Plus account. basically, which is the standard. And so it's a whole thing in itself. If you are on Xbox first, or Xbox only, all this stuff going on with PlayStation probably does not actually concern you at all. It's just simply you have an Xbox account on your system, and then you're online and you just kind of play. This is specifically if you're on PlayStation 5, where you have to have basically the Microsoft account and the Xbox account. And then it sounds like going forward, if more games are going to PlayStation, this is going to be a thing, basically, where you need to have both. And then also, if you are playing Xbox games on Steam, you will need to link a Microsoft account as well. So that's the whole thing right now. Any thoughts on this?
So, to make sure I understand, so if you're doing home split screen co-op, both accounts need to have their own separate PS Plus accounts?
So that's what everybody was thinking just yesterday. So Xbox just came out and said it just needs to be one. It doesn't have to be two of them.
Okay, so here's how I feel. One, I think requiring PS Plus for offline play, I always think is a bad idea, but I think requiring any account for offline play is always a bad idea, because the only way you can, like, you know, show that you have the account is if you're online. So if you're trying to do offline play, that no longer makes sense.
Wait, you know what? I think I may have read this wrong. Let me actually, I want to make sure I'm correct on this. So, local split screen co-op requires a PlayStation account for each player, but does not require PlayStation Plus account.
Oh, you just need a PS account. Okay.
Yeah, that's basically what they mean.
So then, with that said, I think you were right. This is a big nothing burger of an issue. So, like, here's the thing. I feel like when PS games made it to Steam, right, the few that did, and, you know, that's not going to happen again, you still needed a PlayStation account, right? That was the whole big deal with Halo, or with, not Halo,
initially
Helldivers.
You did. I remember hearing about how Steam players just kind of, like, took a stance against it or whatever, and they kind of rolled it back initially.
So they rolled it back initially, but, like, I think Helldivers 2 still required it, though.
Yeah, that one did.
Because it's online play. And again, it's the argument of, like, if I'm not playing online on your thing, why do I need your online service, right? That is its own beef. But, like, other than that, it sounds almost similar to the same thing. If you're going to be playing an Xbox game on PlayStation, you need to have an Xbox account. Now, are they going to have to pay for this Xbox account?
It doesn't sound like they need Game Pass. It sounds like
it's just you just need to have a login, right?
Yeah, you just need to log
in. At this point, that's everything.
Yeah, what other game did we just play? We played something where they made us do logins and we had to check terms and conditions and stuff. It was I think even Borderlands. Was it Borderlands?
Borderlands like that? I think Diablo is like that. You need to have a account with their thing. Half of the things you need to have a Ubisoft account on its own just to play it on any platform. They check for you to make sure. EA wants you to have an EA account. 2K wants you to have a 2K account. It's annoying that everything wants you to have an account. Yeah. I don't think it's time for the pitchforks. I can understand the annoyance, but I don't feel like this needs to be a targeted, like, how dare Xbox. This is a how dare everybody always constantly make me do this, because everybody does. This is more of that. I don't think this should be a targeted attack. But also, again, I don't think this is, again, a pitchfork ready, we riot at dawn situation. This is like I can understand, again, the complaint when people thought that both accounts were going to have to pay for a full-on PS Plus subscription to do some online co-op. Because I did see a thing where, again, when people were complaining about it, about somebody saying, like, a dad buys it to play co-op with his son, and then he now has to pay the extra 50 on top of that to get his son a PS Plus account to then log on. Like, if there was just going to be some co-op in the house, that's messed up. And it's like, yeah, if you're forcing people to pay for extra services to play your game that's offline, that's messed up. But if that's not the case, calm down. But this goes to show what happens where you said they dropped the news and then immediately people started posting things before getting clarification. Right? And it's like, that's that whole issue. And then I'm sure a lot of people didn't read it on their own. They heard someone else say or tweet it and then immediately made their response video, because that's how that goes, where it's like, did you check to make sure you're reading that right? And then,
and the thing about it is, just when it comes to YouTube, they don't have that much time, because they have to put the video out to ride the wave of whatever the algorithm is for the day. And even though, like I've mentioned before, like I kind of regret a little bit not being as much of a presence on YouTube as I wanted to so many years ago. But at the same time, I'm actually very grateful that it's not a primary source of income, or an income source at all, really, at this point. Because when it's a source of income, or for these guys, it's a primary source. When you don't give yourself enough time to actually understand what's going on, it's because this is your primary source of income, and you just need to come out with something immediately. Which means they have to literally spit it out and edit it and throw it out there to have a video out when everybody else does, where everybody's fake outraged, everybody's upset over something that they've been doing this whole time with all the other games. There's been a few of them that we've played where they've been like that. And
yeah, I gotta say, this is why, shout out to GamerRanks, why I really like them. And there's some, like, a channel that I listen to where I do listen to What Culture Gaming as well, but occasionally they have to do the same thing, right? Breaking news and drop it, where GamerRanks be like, all right, it's Friday, here's the news of the week.
Yeah.
And everything, and things will happen on a Monday, and they're like, we'll talk about it on Friday. Like, and it's like, they get the full story. I get to hear everything. They get to develop an opinion. And it's where I really enjoy that, because they got time to think about it. They're not just like, I heard this thing a minute ago, let me drop a video, because they're just going to wait. And I always appreciate stuff like that, because I'm not in a rush to learn the information. It's not like Halo dropped this week, so I can wait until, like, all the info is out before I, like, develop an opinion on it. Like, I can hear, and again, hearing feedback from them, right? Like, if they didn't clarify and everything, if they just left it as is, like, yeah, this is how it is, or they clarified, nope, that's exactly what's happening, then we could see all the, outrage. Like, get the clarification first.
Yeah. So because a lot of people didn't clarify, didn't look into it, we had a whole bunch of those type of posts. It was kind of funny because I was seeing a lot of apologies and stuff like that go out. And it was coming from both the Xbox fan base and PlayStation fan base. Like, everybody just has to put that out. And that's why I always say, like, you know what, I'm kind of grateful that, my income sources is not dependent on YouTube. Because I could just sit back and be like, all right, when we get to it, we get to it. And when we, have something to say, we'll say it. Yeah. And we don't have to compromise integrity, just to put out a video. But... yeah, so that was the news on Halo. The funny thing about it is I played the game, the other version, the original version. It's pretty cool. I guess this particular one is still supposed to have like 3 more missions, I guess, for the original story. I don't know what the 3 extra missions is going to be about. But yeah, you have to play it again if you really want to do that, and then go through all this noise if you want to play online. I don't expect this one to actually have that much of a player base over some of the newer ones, Infinite and the Master Chief Collection, really. But it'll still get its buzz a little bit just because it is Halo. It's taboo to have Halo on a different platform. But if this is such a thing that's going to start, I don't think there's going to be much more of this. I mean, we already got Asha Sharma, saying, hey, we're trying to do this whole return to Xbox thing, which kind of goes into my next topic, which is all the layoffs, which we kind of just didn't really talk about before, but I want to phrase it in the term that she had, which was the 100-day reset. She kept saying that no matter what the interview was, 100-day reset. And so I think the biggest thing out of that whole layoff of all the studios and stuff, for me, it was probably Ninja Theory, because Hellblade's latest game, which is just titled Senua, was mentioned on the Xbox showcase that we had just saw. I want to say like the week prior, or maybe a few days prior, and then like afterwards, maybe a day or two later, they announced the closing of certain studios, and that was one of them. And it's kind of a head scratcher moment for me, because I'm like, well, is the game coming out? I think the game is still coming out, but you just have all the other issues that goes along with that. Maybe that's just their last game, the last game of that little Hellblade series. According to all the sources, really, they're giving them the ability to try to spin off into being independent by a certain date if there's a buyer or something who can either acquire them or just allow them to be independent. They're still trying to do that, so it's not like they're all just completely out of work, out of a job, but that's what was going on. I think Compulsion Games was another one. Honestly, there was the game that they mentioned, I think at the Xbox Direct back in January, where I was just like, in my head, I remember thinking like, all right, you just asking for everybody to get fired. And it was a game I think you liked. It was the thing where you had the pottery, and then afterwards they battle each other or something. Oh yeah,
kiln or something like that.
Something like that. I'm like, bro, what? In my head, I'm like, dude, why would you make this? That was
why you make kiln?
Yeah.
Why you make kiln? Dude, it's obvious why you make kiln.
Okay, and now he done kilned his career basically, and that's what, like, what? I'm like, and I agree with Asha what she was saying. Like, we got to make games that are going to actually sell on the platform. That's
not going to. So here's the thing: that's not going to sell. That should have been a super indie title. If you take away the like everything around, it's like the premise of it is create a fighter and fight in a battle arena, which is just like, oh, that sounds fun. It's just they decided to go with the pottery aspect, which is kind of goofy, but I still personally want to try it.
I don't know if the game is still coming out. I think it sounded like the games that were announced are still coming out.
I thought it was out already. Am I wrong?
Is that out already? Well, see, that's the thing. It's like
team-based game.
It's not a title that you would look for. Like
it was released late April.
Okay, yeah, and it's not a title that you would look for like that, and because of that, then it's not a title that's bringing people to the platform. And so she's looking at it.
I don't think anybody saw this was about to go, yo, I gotta buy an Xbox.
She put out a statement a few weeks ago that, or maybe a week and a half ago, that I had I kind of agreed with. It was right before they did all these announcements, and it just basically says, we just share with our teams the realities we need to navigate as we work to reset the Xbox business. We won't succeed by hiding hard truths, nor will we succeed by doing the same thing and expecting different results. I mean, that can go, I mean, you could take that statement and apply it to any individual about their life when they need to make changes, for their life. It is what it is. Go ahead.
While I get that, and while it's a business, and I'm not disagreeing with necessarily the things she has said, but I think the reason why sometimes I do like the indie market, even when we do like criticize like their games, right? Where like, for example, Killed, like rightfully so, and things like that, even though they're not like indie per se. But the reason why is because when you focus so much on we can only make the things or focus on the things that is gonna for sure bring money, the bring money is different from what we see versus what they see, right? Like what was that one game? The one where it was super successful, but the studio still closed down. The rhythm game that was shadow dropped.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, right? We would say that's successful, and they were like not successful enough. Studio gone. But it's like then when they do that, it's like okay, so what are they gonna make? Call of Duty. This is why everybody keeps trying to make the battle or like battle royal like shooter games and everything because they're looked at as successful. It just becomes now you're getting the same stuff. Whereas ridiculous as Kill It is, I think what got me excited was like that thought process is like, why would you make this? And it's like it's so goofy and out of left field where it's like, who thought pottery fighting let's go is such a weird thing? That's what makes me want to try it. And I understand that I guess that's the market for like indie instead of like it's not something this shouldn't be the top tier Xbox and top tier PlayStation game. Yeah. It's just I don't want to see from places like everything PlayStation is action adventure or superhero and everything from like Xbox is shooter. It's like no, I want to see the crazy stuff, and I feel like the whole point of getting the Call of Duty money and having the God of War money is now you could spend money doing the weird things as well. Like you could do the crazy stuff that gets a big studio backed behind it, so it doesn't have to come out 8-bit, you know, and like things like that. But I get it that like at this point, with how much money they don't have, they gotta do some Drax and stuff so they can get back to a point where you can make like weird things. I just don't want it to fall under the all we make is Halo, Call of Duty, and Senua, and that's it.
So God of War was a big topic recently because of the new chick or the wife, right?
The wife, yeah.
But if we remember, they attempted to do something different with the God of War franchise with making an indie type title, which was called The Sons of Sparta, and within the PlayStation fan base, that game didn't go over well. Even with the name of God of War, it literally did not go over well at all. And those are the type of titles that would be considered more indie based, would be considered a little bit more experimental, and probably would work very well on the indie scene. But when you slap a big name on top of it like God of War, or you slap a big name on top of it like PlayStation or Santa Monica Studios, well, now the expectation is off. The marketing for it is one thing, but everybody's thinking something else, and it's not really fair to the game. But those are the type of things like I think she would have probably saw that as she was going into the role and looking at research and stuff, and said, well, Xbox definitely can't do that if PlayStation couldn't do it.
Yeah, but I also think that does suck. Like, I like that they experimented and tried to do something. I still haven't played it yet. Admittedly, I'm one of the issues. I plan on playing it. I just haven't got around to getting it. But I like the idea that, like I don't need to hear Santa Monica necessarily and automatically assume it's this grandiose thing, especially if it's just like a shadow drop thing. If it's like we're building up something and 5 years later, then it's that, then it's like, okay, what happened? But if I know you're doing the grandiose thing and here's this other little thing onto the side, I want to see that experimental stuff because, I mean, think about it. It's how many times PlayStation gets complaints because of how, like, Uncharted, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, how they all play almost exactly the same. And it's like, well, yes, because we want something. Like, you can't say you want something different and then, like, get mad that they did something different.
I think when it comes to Xbox and then Game Pass especially, they do need to change their expectation. I don't want to say lower their expectation, but change their expectation for that particular platform and what result you're looking for. And I think it's probably better off for them to partner with a lot of indie companies to bring some of their titles onto Game Pass versus spending real money to develop a game that's similar for Game Pass.
That's fair.
But when we look at, because we had a bunch of shows that just went by, right? I remember one of them had the headline over 60 indie exclusives or something like that, or world premieres or something. It was like, that's 60 titles within that one show. And I know at the end of the day, when I wrote down what I wrote down, it wasn't but like maybe 3 or 4 games, right? So that's fair. A full conveyor belt of just titles that just came right out and went right into, well, I won't say right into the trash, but it went right out of my radar. Somebody else might have picked a couple of them. Somebody else might have picked, a couple more. But that's the type of thing that makes the most sense on a Game Pass model, versus saying, well, let's take a game that's similar to this, but we're going to spend the type of money that we spent on like the new Gears, which is like, I think was 400 million, they said, to make Gears, but we're making these other type of titles. And it's like, but people ain't really trying to play that. Like the audience that was on South of Midnight, that audience was a strong audience based on, the current climate of the world and racism issues. But I honestly don't think it made the most sense for that to be an Xbox title, even though Xbox was on like the owner of that and everything. It made, because that company I think was one of them that went down. But like the game and its audience can live on with the platforms like Black Voices and Gaming and stuff like that, and then you could probably still play it on Game Pass. But should it have been, should we have spent that much money on that? I mean, it's debatable. I liked it for what it was, but it didn't really, like, it didn't fit like what you would have expected for Xbox. Now, yes, Xbox needs to expand. I want them to continue with their reset, but I also want them to take accountability that once your reset is done, if the next project doesn't sell, I don't think you should be like knee-jerk reactioning anymore. I think you should give it some time, because what we've been seeing with the platform, and not really the generation and everybody, they're not giving any of their studios time to do anything.
Nope.
It's just not happening at all.
I think we've talked about it before with how many games get super successful when it's like number 3 and they really figured out what they were doing, and then it brings back. Like you have to, like, like we always said, have 3 planned in mind for any sort of like franchise thing, and like at least 2. Stick with 2 of them and see what happens before. Like look what happened for, I know this is another indie title, but look what happened for that Gravekeeper game where they decided to go ahead and make a second one, and was just like, I know it was like, here's the first one for free, but like because they released the second one and people tried out the first one, they made like $250,000 over a weekend through like DLC, just because people found out about the first one, not only because free, but because the second one was announced, so they didn't even know about the first one until there was a second one. And now that doesn't always happen, but like, if you give the second one a try, then some people are more like, oh, let me go ahead and check the first one. I don't know. I guess also when I hear like, we can only do things that like bring money, I get afraid that like, well, then there goes the Alan Wake universe, right? Like things like that goes away now because those don't bring in money.
Yeah, I think they're only going to be in this position for the remainder of this generation, though. I think afterwards they'll be able to expand again. But I kind of agree a little bit with what's going on. Like maybe they were spreading themselves just a little too thin right now.
Very fair thing. That's a very fair like assessment, right? Like so I could see that. And again, it's like trying to have the mindset of like business versus just a gamer and everything. It's like business, I get it. It makes sense what they're trying to say. Gamer, I always get afraid when I hear we're planning to restrict, because then again, I feel like that just means only Call of Duty.
But you gotta also look about it like this. So Ravenlock, if you remember me talking about the craziness I had to experience with that around Christmas time. Ravenlock is a game where it looks like you're playing with Dora the Explorer, and she's going into a really small makeshift Zelda type environment real quick, right? And it's a little 3D hack and slasher. and it's quote unquote really easy and short. That game was released literally right next to Redfall. Redfall didn't do good. It became the biggest talk for Xbox. They used it to put down Microsoft and everybody as a whole. Nobody looked at Ravenlock at all. Completely ignored. I was the only one who paid attention. I'm the only one. Like, I'm pretty sure real Xbox heads had no idea that Ravenlock came out right alongside it. And it was both on Game Pass, and you know, Redfall was the big game that was a part of Bethesda, and that was the shooter. That was the one that everybody paid attention to, right? During the time Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 came out, there was a game that came out with it called The Gunk. Little game where you are literally vacuuming gunk around the planet as like this random black girl. And it was like nothing else to it. It was kind of like considered a cozy-ish game. It came out, no attention whatsoever. I think only the hardcore Xbox fans may have knew it came out, but everybody obviously was paying attention to Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. No matter how much they either like or hated the game, whatever they had to say about it, who had a headline about the gunk? Nobody. Nobody did. Those are titles that probably would benefit with where they're, you know, partnering with an indie company that conveyor belts this stuff out. I mean, we have how many game shows with all this stuff? And then it comes, it goes. It's year after year. They show you 200 plus games. Think about it. It's like 200 plus. Because we're talking like so many shows. And you have like one or two games that just shows up on like every show. It's like, well, those are the games that probably they can partner with and put on Game Pass. They could put some of them other ones on Game Pass. But I don't think that they really need to be making those right now. Because nobody is looking at it. Nobody wants to play it. And so it's unfortunate, but that's the thing. You could even say the same thing under Nintendo. When you go to Nintendo players are playing Nintendo first party games. Who is really playing that conveyor belt of ports? Do anybody even talk about them? You see every show will be like 2/3 ports, 1/3, you know, new Nintendo game. And I'm willing to bet money the hardcore Nintendo fans is not paying attention to a lot of those ports. So
I just don't want to get to a world where we only focus on the hardcore.
But it is. We are in that world. We're literally in that world. We are
well,
only
of course not yet,
it.
Because we're still releasing all this other stuff.
Nobody's buying them. That's the thing.
Some people are.
Some
people are. Yeah. And unfortunately, but again,
here's the thing: it's not enough to keep the lights on. It's not enough to keep the lights on, right?
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother argument because I feel like that's just mismanagement of CEO money. But yeah.
Shout out to Yacht Club Games. They had the Shovel Knight game, and then they have I think it's called Myra. That's a big thing right now. They figured it out. They don't necessarily need nobody else to back them, and they come out with their title and it just works. You know, shout out to the Hollow Knight team. They come out with their title and it just works. Now, yes, Hollow Knight was still on Game Pass, but like literally, even if it wasn't there, I think they would have did just fine. But there needs to be some strong indie players, and some of these other indie teams where it's just like 2 or 3 people in a basement. I mean, it would benefit them, you know, to release their game and take the money from Xbox or something and just put their title directly on Game Pass. But yeah, the bigger guys, people ain't playing them. I mean, Sons of Sparta failed. It just did. That was Kratos as a teenager, and no one cared apparently. So we could probably move forward. I do want to speak on the next topic before this footage goes away. This is Saints Row, someone who attempted to compete with GTA at some point. and that didn't go over that well at all. And then they kind of just was like, all right, we'll just take a goofy approach at some point. And that kind of went over well with a certain audience, and then they also failed overall. But anyways, their gameplay is very similar looking to your standard GTA game, so that's why I have this here. But GTA 6, the game where we all assumed was probably going to be pushed back, it looks like it may come out on time, which I believe the release date for it is November 19th, 2026. So right in the holiday season, the heart of the holiday season. But they're announcing that, hey, pre-orders will be ready to go in a few days on June 25th, 2026. I wasn't expecting them to just kind of come out and say that. They just did, and was like, hey, here we go. We ready to go, basically. It's going to be on PlayStation and Xbox still. I believe that's the only platforms that's releasing on right now. Yep. It will come to PC eventually. I know that market is just going to explode when that happens. But yeah, it looks like it's ready, set to disrupt the economy, because I already know there's going to be a bunch of people. Funny enough, I actually heard at my own job people who was planning to take off work around the release of this game, which I had already expected. I was telling you a while back, I was like, listen, we're gonna have a massive amount of people. We talk about layoffs. It was like, well, people gonna quit. They gonna straight up quit to play the game. If you had a job, you don't care about the job, it ain't doing nothing for you. You in a certain situation, I'm almost certain we're gonna have a nice percentage of people to literally quit to play that game. This is gonna disrupt the universe a little bit. But any thoughts on this? Man, that looked brutal. What did we just watch? She just stabbed me.
Look, man, I had to do what I had to do, and no, it's cool that it's releasing on time. It better release on time. There's too many other games that'll just fall apart if it don't. They're already pushing everything to months before, and like they're already gonna get ruined there. Like, it would be crazy if they were like, "Hot surprise, September," and like just destroyed everything else coming out. But it's good release. Like, it does suck to have to keep getting pushed back. I think it'll be like torturous to push you back again. At that point, then I feel like there's something crazy wrong, and they just need to admit that it's not the scale people expect. Like, at that point.
The funny thing about this, one of the things that people was trying to do, I think Fable was one of them more recently, was everybody was trying to move the release of their game away from the release window of GTA. And funny enough, while doing that, they kind of backed themselves in the corner a little bit, because there was a lot of people trying to put their stuff in October, and then a lot of people trying to put their stuff in September. And we already know February is also one of those stacked months. But I think with this game being in November, it still probably will hurt some of the September and October releases just a little bit.
I think more the October and probably December stuff for anything that comes out in December. I don't know if like September necessarily. Like, I feel like the big games of September will be fine. And I think some of the small ones, because I think anything small that's like, this has like 20 hours, it'll be like, I'm gonna speed through this before GTA comes out. Like something like that. So I think those will be like the only thing that's gonna hurt to me, the September stuff, is the mass amount of things coming out in September. But now, since everything's dropping there, not gonna be able to play all of that stuff.
The funny thing though, because I don't think anybody reports this, and you gotta come to a channel like mine in order to find the little things that nobody else is paying attention to. The funniest thing, because we all know, like, a lot of people just love to see corporations hurt. The one thing that nobody mention is this game is about to kill Black Friday. I don't think anybody mentioned that at all. Black Friday and Black Friday sales is over. Anybody, and it's funny because we've heard in recent years that retailers have struggled to make that big Black Friday sale that usually saves their revenue for the whole year. They spend the whole year preparing to make a big amount of money during Black Friday. And I honestly think that GTA 6, because this is literally coming out on the 19th, the week before Black Friday, I think it's going to kill it. I don't think people are going to be sitting there buying a whole bunch of little stuff. All the little $20 games and in other areas too. Like, no, they're going to put that money directly towards GTA at full price. And if we randomly find out later that it's $100, I think they really going to put that money towards it, and it's really going to kill Black Friday. But I think that's what's going to happen. Like
the only things that could be, I guess, even remotely somewhat successful on Black Friday, it has to be games that are on super sale and could target the complete opposite of a GTA like family. Like, it has to be like games that are targeted towards people that would never touch a GTA game, because then it's going to be their things that are like it can't be anybody into any sort of action or anything. Like, it has to be complete opposite. And even then, it's still, iffy.
All right. Well, let's move on. I want to pull up one of your topics. So, why do you feel like you need to apologize to Debra Wilson? What is going on?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I was being kind of a hater recently. I don't know if I did it on the podcast or just to you. I couldn't remember. But, a lot of people were kind of online talking about this. So, Debra Wilson, she's if you don't know who it is, she's the bald black lady that's been in a lot of video games, right? And does a lot of voice, and a lot of times they do motion capture and make the character, like, for a lot of the big names, look like her. Like the Jedi Master in Star Wars, the Jedi, the Fallen Order, and all that stuff, right? And people were complaining because she's also in Wolverine. She's playing, like, the character Calypso, and they kind of made the character look a lot more like her. And a lot of people were saying it was like, and even like, like not hating on like her talent, like she's good at what she does. It was just, why does all the characters seem to have to look like her, like, in order to do it? And it made me start thinking of like, like Troy Baker being like everything, and like I didn't know what he looked like until he started presenting on stage, right? Like, the characters don't necessarily look like him. So I was wondering about her, and then I saw somebody post a thing like, just shout out to the legendary Debra Wilson. So I started looking into like things that she did and everything, because I'm just like thinking that way as well. Like, why does everybody have to look like why does all of her characters have to look like her, and everything? And it turns out I was wrong. But she's been in a lot of stuff. She's been doing this for a while. I knew she was on MTV, like not MTV, Mad TV, like a long time ago, when that was going and everything. But she has done a lot. So some of the stuff that she's done, I just want to kind of bring up, for example. So on the Like a Dragon, the pirate one, she's the voice actress, like the translating voice actress for one of the queens in there. She played in Mare's Edge. She's the narrator for the Festival of Blood in Infamous 2. She played a character in The Walking Dead Telltale games. Did you know she's the voice of Kit in Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart, the female Clank?
No, I mean, I ain't really
the yellow robot.
But
That's her. She plays the the grandma for what's her name? Angrboda in God of War.
Okay.
Ragnarok, like the angry giant, the like boss fight. That's her. She's the Houndmaster in Dead by Daylight as well. She plays this doctor in Outer Worlds 2, Dr. Tinsley, one of the crazy looking aliens in Destiny 2. And then remember when we played Diablo 4, there was that one bald, like the mother who like led the army, but she didn't really like fight, and she was just standing there towards the end. That's her.
Okay.
That's Debra Wilson as well. And in what is this? Doom: The Dark Ages. I don't know if you got there yet, but there's a Commander Thera, like white lady with short hair. Oh, the white lady with short hair. soldier, that's her as well.
Okay.
So it turns out a good majority of her characters don't look like her. There's just a few that do, and then we know it's her and everything. So that's between Star Wars. Admittedly, when you see it up close, the Diablo 4 character is just not as easy to tell because of the art style of the game. And her character in Wolverine. So I just kind of want to give a shout out, just kind of realizing, I was wrong. And she actually is a good prolific. We got her and we got Troy Baker.
She's 64. I just looked. I saw her age. They said she's 64. So she.
That makes sense. I don't know why that surprised me when I was out here. She was on Bad TV a while ago. Yeah, of course. That's crazy.
All right. Well, since you want to apologize, I actually entitled this segment "Apologies to Debra Wilson and the Resident Evil franchise," because you owe the Resident Evil fan base an apology because you ain't finished Resident Evil 7 this whole time. That's the real apology that we need.
Finished? I didn't even start. I played a little bit at the beginning and called it a day.
We sitting over here trying to figure out why you ain't play it. We what is going on here, man?
It's scary.
we need an apology. What the heck? That's the real apology. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'll get to it eventually.
Eventually means next week.
No.
And
you should have picked that as the game. You picked Bloodborne.
Listen, you guys start that too. I'm about to start. I'm about to start the Digimon. But listen,
maybe so easy for you.
So listen. All right. I have some apologies for the people myself. I'll be fair. I promised the people that I was going to actually play the PSVR 2. I didn't. You know what's actually funny? I had every intention to. So on my off day, I was like, okay, this is how I'm gonna start today. I'm gonna play on the Digimon. Well, I'm gonna play the Digimon game on the Portal, and I'm gonna do that last. I'm gonna play the PSVR 2. I gotta do some chores and stuff, clean up a few things, and I'm gonna play the MetaQuest. I started with the MetaQuest as a warm up, quote unquote, and the funny thing is, I didn't even play the games. I was just so captivated by the other stuff. And I was on the MetaQuest the whole time. And then I saw it was 7 or 8 p.m. and I was kind of tired. And it kind of made me sick a little bit. Because I was like, oh, shoot, I don't know if I want to do anything else. But I was doing the roller coasters, the skydiving. I was doing all that stuff. Because they had some realistic simulations and stuff. The Millennium Force, some of the popular roller coasters and stuff, and I was just doing that, and the time just went by. It did make me a little nauseous, I ain't gonna hold you, and I kind of had to lay down for a second. But that's what I was doing. I just forgot all about the MetaQuest. But I'm not the MetaQuest, the other one. I'm gonna go back and do that one next week. I'm gonna start with that one instead of MetaQuest, and actually see how the VR system is. I had the thing for a few weeks now and didn't do anything. But yes. All right.
Apology tour. We done.
Apology tour. I do want to let's just go ahead and hit our quote unquote middle portion of the show where we talk about Epic Games and all of the free stuff that they give out as our unofficial sponsor. This week they got a cool little selection. I'm hearing though overall that people are saying the rumors that they're gonna pull back a little bit on Fortnite, which I wonder if that's really true, but I guess we will see. Anyways, though, the games they got that's out right now that they're giving away for free. One of them is called Citizen Sleeper. That's available right now from today as of this recording all the way to June 25th. So June 25th. So not too long. So you got to really hop on that. But that's one of them. The other one is called Robo Beat. Cool little games. So go check those out. Go take a look and see what they're about. From June 25th to July 2nd. It's crazy that we're saying July already. They have Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, the complete edition.
Okay.
That's pretty dope that it's the complete edition, so they're going to give that entire thing away for free. And then Void Wrath. I don't know if I said it right. But yeah, go check that out. I don't know nothing about any of these games. I actually didn't look up anything. But go check those out. You know, if you like it, free is free. Can't really be mad at anything that's free. If I was to go into any rumors or anything in this section, it was mentioned that it's rumored that by June 25th or 26th, we might actually hear officially from the Steam machine and also the VR headset Steam Frame, I believe it's called. We might hear their actual releases saying here's the release date and here's the actual price. That's what people are saying right now. So that's right around the corner as well. That'll be interesting just to see what the fallout is on that, but they are expecting on the high end, from what they're saying, 1,200 basically. So we'll see.
That's
1,200.
A lot, but
that's each. So 1,200 for the machine, 1,200 for the headset. So let me make sure I'm clear on that. And that's on the high end.
for that controller, probably.
Yeah, that's on the high end. The controller sold separately for 100. You can already do that. I think they're going to restock it at the same time because right now it was still sold out. But just expect that much. Okay. Any new games or anything coming from Amazon?
So nothing from Amazon. We'll have to wait till next month. But I did want to give a quick shout out to the Humble Bundle stuff. Since you had mentioned it, and I think I sent it to you for the VR, there's a good 2 weeks left where they did a whole upload VR from the summer showcase stuff. Where they got a nice 9 games, VR games, all put together, along with some other stuff as well. But if you're looking for a way to I guess jump into VR, you got the set, you don't really got games like that for it, but you really want to try some stuff, Humble Bundle is a good way to pack a bunch of the games together, get a few for a nice discounted price, and some of your money goes to some nice charity that they list off to the side.
All right. So yeah, pretty dope. I didn't really have any sales or anything really. I didn't buy anything. I'm just kind of chilling, playing what I already got. I am waiting to see what the Steam machine, not so much what it costs, but how does it perform? Because I already know they're gonna play or show off a whole bunch of games that we've seen that they were showed off with the PS Pro and all this other stuff. But just how do they perform? I'm looking forward to some of the main channels, that people know, like Digital Foundry, for example, that shows the side-by-sides, and we'll just basically find out, is it worth it at the end of the day for its price? For a lot of people, though, definitely still look at YouTube and look at the title, and I could almost say it, I couldn't wait for the Steam machine, so I made my own. If you search that, there's so many, and it's really not even making mini PCs. There's a whole bunch of them where they're getting these little tiny mini PCs that's around the price that everybody wanted this thing to be at, which was $600 or $700, with the same specs. And those pre-builts are really, really identical according to what the specs were from before. And then you could still go in there and make little changes here and there. And then I forgot what the name of the program was, but you can wipe the OS out and put the Steam's OS on there anyway. And then at that point, here's the Steam machine. And it's on the outside, it don't look like the actual Steam machine, but you can program the thing to where the controller wakes it up. You can still buy the Steam controller if you want to. And then you can still do that. That's still an alternative. So just go look at it. And from the Steam Deck, I do know you can still create your own boot up screen and all of that, if you really into that. But I mean, at the end of the day, you basically can create your own system and customize the inside and stuff. But I do know there's a crowd there that's just like, well, I just want to plug and play, and I hear you. But at the end of the day, I guess that's your choice. All right. Let's move forward to the the Pokemon Museum that's in Chicago. What's going on?
I had a
this?
friend text me an image, cause she on her, like, they do like a yearly trip. She got married. They do like yearly trips, her and her husband. And they went out to Chicago this year, and she just sends me a picture, and it's a museum with like Pokemon stuff in front. I'm like, yo, what is this? Turns out for the year, they've been doing this where they kind of like travel and set this museum up for a year and then go to like a different location. And for the North American one for the year, they decided to turn the Field Museum in Chicago into a Pokemon fossil museum. So they have the, like, you know, like fake bones, things like that, but everything's designed to look like a Pokemon museum with like all the old fossil of like Pokemon stuff, almost like in the games, where you can go to the fossil museum and see the different things like that. So I thought it was really cool that they did that. It's going to be here for like the next year, essentially. Over in Chicago, they got a Pokemon fossil museum.
I actually, funny enough, thought about just going there next week. Which is funny.
To the fossil museum?
Yeah, because I did look into it. So it costs $30 to get in, and I'm not too far away from it, and afterwards I can go and get a real Chicago deep dish pizza that's like really deep. July 4th, not July 4th, but July 3rd I actually have off, and my normal off day, and that's a Friday. My normal off day is on a Thursday, and I kind of thought about just going in Thursday and Friday and then doing some other stuff in Chicago and then coming back. There's also a another like 3D movie that they have going on in this at the same place. That's a T-Rex movie that costs like $8. It's like later on in the afternoon or something. So technically you can go there, do both, and then at the night just eat and then come back. That was just my thought process. I was just thinking about it, but I don't know. I had to see, but I'd have those 2 days, and I'm like, I could actually utilize this and go over there. But I'll figure that out later. But I do like that. Even with that, we're talking maybe $40 for that event over there. Go see the Pokemon thing. Go see the T-Rex movie. There's a couple other movies they got in 3D over there. And then, you know, food afterwards might be another $30, $40. And, you know, I spend about 60 or 70 on that trip, and then whatever else. Because don't we got and I don't want to say too much. Don't they got that bus that's over there? How much it would cost to do that?
To like travel there, it'd be about $40.
That little bus thing was $40. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't even really want to take my car. Like, I just do that.
Yeah, the bus thing is. I did look that up, and it's about $40.
Yeah, you do that and then Uber to the thing, and then do the whole thing back. Maybe catch a hotel over there or something and do it the next day. I was just thinking about it. Like, I've got this next couple of days. I'll talk to you more about that off air, but yeah. So yeah, that was a thing. So shout out to the museum, Pokemon Museum. Yeah. All right. So, tell me what you want to talk about when it comes to Dispatch and their censorship.
Yeah. So if you remember when Dispatch got moved to the Switch, there was automatic censorship. Like, the game is rated M for some reasons. Okay. And there was automatic censorship. Like, to give an example of one of them, there's one of the character who has radioactive skin. So because of that, he don't wear pants, if you get an idea of what's happening there.
Okay.
So for the Switch, when you get on there, it was automatically set with the censorship on, and you cannot turn it off. And their version of the censorship was giant. Like black bars, overly large black bars to cover pretty much everything, but then it obstructs part of the screen. So you're missing out on some of the other things that shouldn't even be like blocked out because they're trying to do that, right? It just that was their way of overly censoring it. Well, what Dispatch was able to do, and they retroactively put this on other systems as well if you want to, was to change it up since the censorship needed to be on. Do it in like fun ways. So one of the examples for this one is it pretty much photoshops some jorts on the guy, like the John Cena jorts. Or there's another character who gets like attacked, knocked down, and then like part of his pants is like burned, so like some of his butt is showing. And instead it puts like an emoji like over it, and they had different emoji, or like a different character sticks up a middle finger, and that was like also blacked out, but because of how close the dude's hand is to his face, it blacks out like part of his face. Now they did it to where they changed censorship to where it could be just the blur effect or different like images. Like it put the logo of Dispatch over his middle finger and things like that. So they made it to where the censorship can actually be funny, which I always think is a fun thing to do. It reminds me of, if you think the early 2000s rap songs where on the radio it would just do the random goofy noises, especially ludicrous songs. Which I always just found them extra entertaining, where it was just the extra goofy noise because they got to censor it anyway, so why not make it funny?
Yeah.
And that's what it seems like Dispatch is doing, since they were forced into it.
Well, that's interesting. Do not buy this on the Switch. That's just
just don't buy it on the Switch. Yeah. If you wanted to check out the goofy censor, if you wanted to check out the goofy censorship, you could put it onto the other consoles as well.
Oh yeah, or watch.
Or I guess if you're playing the game and you got like kids in the house that may just like run in and you don't want them seeing certain things, even though it doesn't happen that much. You know how timing goes. Like, think about when you was a kid and your parent walks in on the worst part of a show where it's like it only happens for these 30 seconds in this particular episode, and that's when they walk in. Things like that if you want. Or like you said, the Twitch streamers, like they might have to keep monetization, turn on different times, so it's a way to make it fun. But yeah, don't buy it on the Switch.
That reminds me of I actually think it's funny that they're doing all this because they're porting over games that some of them are M-rated when they're doing those ports of some of the more recent stuff that it can actually work on the Switch too. And I didn't hear anything about censorship with that, but when I was thinking about like the walking in on the wrong part, it reminded me of because we were talking about GTA. I remember the GTA 3. Like I was young when that first came out. I think I was definitely not old enough to play it because it was an M-rated game. I think you got to be 17 to play it. Like, I remember distinctively a dude from my church decided to show my mom all the stuff you can do in it, all because I had it. And he knew I had it, and she didn't know what was in it. And he was, and then, like, it was him and, like, his cousin or whatever, and they were like older. They were in their 40s at the time, I think. And like, what's the point of the game? Like, kill and destroy, and they kept saying it like that. Like, okay, and then he's just like showing as he's just shooting people and just doing random destruction and all the other stuff. I'm like, come on, bro. And it was just all because, like, if you remember the Trade Center that starts with a G. They didn't care. They wanted to make their sale. So they sold it to me. And I took it home and played it. But when you hear Grand Theft Auto, my mom just assumed, oh, you just driving the cars and stuff.
So, fun story from now, and I remember reading about this one. It was a GameStop story. Because, the employees now, it's part of their job. If something's rated M, they got to say what's in it. Yeah. If it's like a parent and they're with a kid. But the kid was getting it, and apparently, like, when he was like, do you know what's in the game? And the mom's just like, yeah, like, you steal cars and drive them, and we talked about stealing's wrong. And he's like, yes, there's also, and then just said the rest. And she was like, put it back, and didn't let him get it. And the kid just, like, angrily gripped the worker as he walked away. But it's like, that's store policy. They gotta do that type of stuff. Like, it's their job.
I do remember helping a kid. I helped a kid get a Call of Duty game. I remember it was funny because this is how absurd this was. The actual dude who worked in this Target literally said, "Can I see some ID?" And some of us was standing there like, dude, he's clearly a kid. Like, we were all in line trying to get our stuff. And it was like, man, let him get the game. You don't want him to be out here in the streets actually doing it. He trying to just sit in the house and play the game. You want him to gangbang and stuff? Like, they were hassling that dude. They were hassling the worker. He kind of was just doing his job.
Yeah, and that's so messed up.
It was so crazy. They was really, like, getting at him for it. But the kid was, like, right in front of me. And so I was like, bro, look at my ID. I'm older than 17. And then it allowed him, he was like, okay, he can get the game because you're like, it was a weird situation. It was like, here, I am an adult, let him get the game. It was like, I don't, because that kind of happens too. But yeah, and then he got the game, ran off, and then I got what I needed and left. But that was just the whole thing, because he was just like, he literally said, can I see some ID? This kid had to been like 12.
I mean, they have to.
That joke is so stupid. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, clearly he a kid just trying to play the game. But that was like, yeah. And I remember, like, in my head, I was like, okay, that's me just like paying it forward, because I actually had walked up to a stranger to have them get me San Andreas at the time. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, when it came out, the day it came out, because I actually was underage too, but not that far underage. But a lady did do it, and I got San Andreas day one. So that's a whole other story.
Yeah, and I have a fun story for you, like how I was able to play San Andreas. Mine was a workaround as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, did it make me a terrible person? No. I mean, are we serious? Like, let some of these kids play those games. I'm like, if you don't, they are going to go out there and do the real stuff, because you really are, you know, if anything, you taking away options away from them. What else do they have? So let them play the game. That's just my opinion. But we can move on. Last topic that I have, this will be brief. I just wanted to shed some light on the Blood of the Dawnwalker series, I guess, or game. I guess it was brought to my attention that when you play it, your saves and your decisions within the game, I'm assuming, is going to carry over into future games.
I miss this mechanic so much. That was one of the extra reasons, amongst all the other reasons, of why Dragon Age the Veilguard was so bad. Was because Dragon Age 1 decisions carry over to Dragon Age 2, and Dragon Age 2 decisions and a character from each one carries over to Dragon Age 3, and other games used to do this as well, where decisions you make help shape the next game. And then Dragon Age Veilguard was just like, we're just gonna do our own thing and assume you did the generics, and it was just like, don't, like, you know, you ruined it. So that's cool that that means they're planning a sequel already, to hear that, which is great. And it'll be cool because it makes the decisions matter.
So for me, when I hear that, it kind of makes me want to wait till the next game and then play them both back to back, just to test to see that they're telling the truth. I don't want to get too excited, because within this day and age and the current climate, will there be a sequel? Who knows? You know, games that are actually doing good, they don't get sequels. Sometimes they don't even get to keep their studios, right? So it is what it is. But
another one that did it, sorry, that was the other one I wanted to mention. It was the Walking Dead Telltale ones, right? Because you make a lot of decisions in the game, and your save carries over to the next one, so the decisions continue. Yeah,
so that's cool. But that's all I got. I guess we can disperse. We'll meet back up next week just to see what the chaos is then. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good.
All right. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I will catch you on the next episode. Peace.